Are you trying to hear smaller emo or punk bands before they blow up? Me too, it's actually hard as hell to find small bands on Spotify. And go to nataliesworld.com. Natalie's World recently did a whole article about me, TenTillDeath. Tons of articles about other small musicians and bands. If you want to find out about smaller emo and punk and metal bands before they blow up, go to nataliesworld.com.
Okay. My name is Natalie Perez, and I have an interview with someone special on July 3rd, 2025. So, apparently, you're alive. So, what the hell happened? But before you go into that detail, first, let's back it up. It's been 6 months since the very first time and the last time we spoke via email. So, what's been going on between then and now?
Well, between then and now, because I remember that first one. Between then and now, I know my audience, it's grown a lot more since then. It's come with a lot more stress now too, because then I have a lot more comments I've had to answer. I've worked on a lot more music since then. I mean, there's just mostly just continuing to build, the TenTillDeath brand since then. So it's just been continuously growing since then.
On June 6, 2025, a video was posted on social media claiming that you had gone missing. Elaborate.
So, uh, I actually, I actually did disappear for a while now. So, do you care if I explain everything the idea behind it, or
Like a behind the scenes type thing, or why you
like,
did?
or do you care if I explain the entire concept, the reason why I went missing and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, sure, jump right in.
Okay, so I'm just going to give the brief summary of it, and I guess later on we can go into details about it. But it was purely a marketing stunt for my next music project that's about to come up soon. And I knew it was going to be a controversial marketing stunt. I knew I knew the consequences of people actually thinking I'm gone. I knew people were going to get upset, and I was willing to take that risk. So it's purely a marketing stunt. Clearly, I am not dead. Clearly, I'm not dead. I'm clearly alive, as you can tell. Or this could be a clone of me, but I'm clearly alive at this moment.
Hey, AI is amazing now, so you never know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. This could all be an illusion. Maybe I have come back from the dead. Maybe this is just a ghost version of me. I'll let the viewers decide on that.
Following that post, you you went on to post other little clips and videos, and then there was one saying that someone had seen you. Who saw you?
So, so, so nobody actually saw me. What I actually did is the original idea behind this disappearance is I don't know if you've ever heard of what's it? Yeah, where in the world is Carmen San Diego? I think that's yeah, Carmen San Diego. That whole little thing from like 30 years ago. That was the original idea. So the original idea was I was gonna do this thing where I was gonna be spotted in different parts of America or different parts of the world.
Mhm.
But all I actually did was just like set my phone down, set a timed image, and I just took a photo at random places, then just uploaded them to make it seem like someone spotted me. So that was all me. That was all me.
Mhm. In various clips that have been posted, you had your family, friends, I don't know if you have a partner in that sense, go all out. So, how did this happen and why? It felt so real. It got me a
You
few
know,
times.
so okay, so we're gonna backtrack to the Carmen Sandiego thing. The idea, right? Because the album I'm working on was heavily inspired by a certain Prince album. Not the sound, but just the concept. Prince has a world, not in the world, that an album called around. I think it's called Around the World. Yeah, Around the World in a Day. And on the front cover of the album, it has all these different people from different cultures from around the world. And so back to the Carmen San Diego thing. What I wanted to do originally was have all these different versions of me spotted around the world and then do the big album reveal to kind of make a reference to that Prince album. But there was a point where I knew that wasn't going to work, and I could only go so far with it before people started catching onto it or started getting bored. And so what I started to do is I looked into what some of my fans and some of my supporters were posting. Some of my supporters started theorizing that, hey, I could have got kidnapped, right? Or some of my supporters were theorizing that I could have got lost in the park. So I took some of the theories that people had, and I was like, okay, let's take these theories that fans have and let's make it a reality. And so I knew to make it even more believable, I was going to have to get close ones to me to try to confirm that I've actually gone missing. And most of them were like, I don't want to do it. And some of them, they were okay with it. So I reached out to my best friend who was willing to, do just a phone call for me. And that's how that came to be. My partner agreed to do it. And I had to convince everybody in my close circle, even some of my friends, they agreed to do it. But we all had to, agree that no matter what fans try to reach out to us to ask if any of it's real, we're just gonna, say it's real, and nobody's gonna give up the stint until the actual album day. So, yeah, that's pretty much how that came to be.
Can you discuss the crime scene photos that were shown?
Okay, okay. So I'll give some context behind that one. I have a coworker, and my coworker is a much older metalhead. I think he's in his 50s. He's a great guy. And so he was giving me ideas. He was like, you should do something like the Ring 10. You should do all these different things. And he used to be a butcher. So he told me what I should do when it comes to staging like a whole little fake murder video.
Mhm.
And I wanted to do a fake murder video where I was gonna upload it on a different account and make it seem as if someone found this lost tape of me being murdered. But I knew, there was only so much that I could do and there was going to be limitations. So I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, well, we can do a fake crime scene, but we have to make it look as real as possible. And with that old metalhead who used to be a butcher, he gave me some tips on how to make it look real, on what meats I should use to make it look like actual human guts. So what I did is I already had a ton of fake blood that I've had for over 2 years that I got from Spirit Halloween. Took the fake blood, went to the store, and I know this is a waste of meat, but I only ended up spending $4 on this meat. I bought some meat and I went to Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby has fake police tape that you can buy. And I got that, and I went to the middle of the woods over here by my house. And what I did first to make it even seem more believable is I done some research on crime scene photos, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take all of this knowledge, just based on these crime scene photos I've seen, and we're gonna try to recreate some of them. And so I went to the middle of the woods, set up everything, and I was pretty pleased with the results. No, no, none of the blood was real, and the meat that I used, it probably got ate by like some woodland creatures or something in the middle of the woods, but none of it was real. And it was just all me, just in the middle of the woods setting that up. Believable, though. It looked pretty believable.
How were you able to set up, all these different things and not get the real authorities involved or have a fan or somebody out there be like, hey, 911?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. That was actually my biggest fear because one of my fans, they live very close to me. And when I went on my vacation about 2 weeks ago, one of my biggest fears was that someone was going to spot me in public and then probably reveal everything. And so what I had to do is it was just me hoping that nobody would report anything. And so to make sure that nobody would report anything, I would post online pretending to be a family member saying, "Hey, we already got the authorities involved. The authorities are already working on this." And by lying and saying that the authorities are already involved, the idea was that I was going to hope that nobody was going to report any of it to the authorities because they already read online that the authorities were involved. And I'm still hoping nobody has reported it to the authorities. And so that's pretty much how I got that going. It was just hoping nobody would actually report it to the authorities.
Mhm. Well, if they did, I'm sure you would have gotten a knock on the door regardless.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That was one of my biggest fears. Every day I'd wake up and I would just look online, see what people were saying, and just hoping nobody would, nobody would actually take it too seriously and report it to the authorities.
Mhm. Please talk about that obituary that was made about you. Was all that info true, false?
No, some of it was true, some of it was false. So I made two obituaries. The first one I made, it ended up getting flagged and got taken down because the company that runs that website, they didn't believe that, someone had actually died and it got flagged in the system. So I had to make a second one. The second one, and it's easy to make an obituary. There's free websites out there where you can just make an obituary about anyone or anything. And it does say in the terms of use, if this is fraud, like this person didn't actually die, you could face legal trouble. But I was willing to risk it for this thing we were running here. And so some of the information on the obituary, like my age, yes, 25, about to be 26 in about a month and a half. That's true. The whole thing on there about me liking to hike and going out to the woods, that's true. That's so true. And then I think there's more information on there about me listening to music all the time or me being deep in the music. That's true because I have a whole collection in my living room just full of vinyl, CDs, cassettes that I listen to. So most of the information on there was true, but I did, sprinkle in, just heavily sugar coated it. So I will say most of it was true, but there was some heavy sugar coating in there as well.
So after doing all these different posts so far, you've received an amount of love, pain, hate, some various people alike. What are your thoughts on how the reactions have been, how it's all turned out so far?
I don't want to use this word, but I want to say it's beautiful. And there's a reason why. So it's like I said, going into this, I knew the consequences even before I started this whole little TenTillDeath is missing thing. Like I knew the consequences. I knew there was going to be people upset. People were going to call me a sicko, and I'm not trying to justify it. I'm not even trying to water it down. Like I'm here taking accountability for it. Like yes, I salute Kinnemer. Pulled this stunt knowing the consequences, knowing how upsetting it would be to people, right? And I'd say the reactions are beautiful because it tells me one thing. It tells me that it's working because there's been times in the past where I did marketing stints. Nothing as crazy as this. This is probably the craziest stint I've done. But a lot of times in the past, the marketing stint wouldn't work or it wouldn't stick or people just did not enjoy it or follow through with the stint. And with this one, seeing the reactions of people actually believing it, people, leaving heartfelt comments, I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful because people are, this is working. But hasn't got out of hand. It's kind of got out of hand because when I took my vacation 2 weeks ago and a good chunk of my coworkers follow me online. So imagine you're one of my coworkers, you don't know I'm on vacation and you're seeing these posts about me missing. When I got back to work, like a ton of people were telling me that their phones were getting blown up, trying to ask where I was, asking if I actually went missing. There was a ton of people getting texts about me at work. It got so out of hand at work, people thinking I actually disappeared, to where I heard that my management had to step in, and which it tells me, oh man, this really is working. But at the same time, that's like, oh man, people actually at work believe what we did here was real to the point where management had to step in, and that's kind of like where when I look at some of the negative consequences of this whole stint, I'm just like, oh man, what have we got ourselves into this time, Tin? Think we pushed the envelope a little too much, Tin. So yeah.
So, what did all of this misinformation lead towards in the end? What is the so-called big news?
So there's several things. So one, there's the album reveal, and the album reveal is going to take place during the fake funeral tomorrow, and there's going to be physical copies that we're going to do. That's the first thing. That's the first thing because for months I've been hiding the album. A lot of people keep messaging me. I've had someone jokingly threaten me to release the album already, and so a lot of my own fans, small little group of what I call deaflings. A lot of them, they're very excited about the album, but you know, it was to really generate even more hype for the album and stuff. So that's the first thing. And the second thing that it leads to is I have plans to release a short film within the next week or two that ties into the album. And then there was a third thing. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh yeah, okay. So the third thing is I'm gonna do a mini tour. So it's also gonna, be revealed, hey, we're gonna be doing a tour as well. So if you're a Tintel Deafling, you're gonna have three great things happen with this reveal. You're gonna not only get a new album if you're a Tintel Deafling, you're gonna also get a cool little short film, and then you're also gonna probably get a chance to see me on a mini tour that we're gonna do. So that was the whole idea. That was the whole idea.
Mhm. Since you went above and beyond for this little stunt, besides other ones that you've done before, can we expect to see you do something like this again, or you think this tops it?
I think I know I'm gonna do another crazy stunt in the future, but it's not going to be faking my death again. Because faking, you can only do so much of the same marketing tactics until people are like, boring, or people are like, fake. And the faking death thing, I knew I really had to sell the hell out of it. And I knew that was going to be hard because I knew there was going to be people that called it out. Like, I think on one of the first posts. I saw you comment an emoji, and I was just talking to my friends. I'm like, this person knows. This person knows. And, I feel like this tops it at the moment because I'm asking myself, how much farther can I go? How much farther can I go? Because even me personally, like I'm a chaotic person, and there's only so much I'm willing to do for a marketing stunt. And I feel like this is probably the craziest stunt I'm ever going to do. And I know there's going to be more stunts that I'm going to do in the future, but nothing, nothing to this extent. But also this one, see, I told myself I have my own personal rules if I'm doing a marketing stunt. If I'm doing a marketing stunt, it doesn't need to cause too much outrage or too much outcry. Like I know some bands or some artists, they'll uh they'll do what I like to call political marketing, where they'll try to say something politically controversial to generate some clicks and views. Yeah, that's a no for me. No, no. I'll talk about it in the music, but I'm not gonna do an interview just to get some clicks and views for the album. That's a no for me. But I think in the future, yeah, I'll probably do some crazier stunts, but just not faking my death again. And I did have a fear during this whole little stint where what if I actually died during this faking my death stint, and I actually died during the stint, and people didn't believe that I actually died. So that was probably one of my more big concerns.
Mhm.
And I know because of this stint, if I when I actually do die in the future, people are probably going to have a hard time believing I actually died because of this stint. So I understood the consequences of that.
Mhm. Is there anything else you would like to throw out there for now? Any other plans between now and the rest of this year?
I think, yeah, yeah, yeah. So after, and I guess I'll elaborate a little bit more about the whole little faking my death thing too, because I didn't elaborate about it too much. But I'll answer the question first, and then if you don't care, I'll elaborate in the details if that's fine with you.
Yeah.
So I know I've talked to my small little fan base about this, and I told them that after this album, we're just gonna do a full on pop album, and I know I'm pretty excited to do a pop album, but I told myself if I'm gonna do a pop album, I'm gonna try to make it as chaotic and crazy as possible, because when it comes to music, I just like music. Like in my vinyl collection, my cassette collection, my CD collection, there's everything. There's just everything, like just a mix of everything. And so I knew, especially being alternative, and you've probably seen it as well online, where there's people that'll judge you because you don't listen to alternative music all the time. And I listen to alternative music a lot. It's just I can understand that there's beauty in music as a whole, but beyond alternative music. So, and it wasn't even just that. Also, as an artist, and I feel like a lot of small artists, they box themselves in where they got to stay true to their music genre, where they always got to cater to a certain music genre of fans. Like some pop punk bands are always just going to make pop punk because that's what their core fan base knows them for. And I get it. If you want to branch out of pop punk or branch out of cold wave music as an artist, it can be daunting because you're going to have some negative reactions. But when you really have a love for music, and you can look at artists like Prince, you can look at artists like I'm trying to think of a good one here, Logic. When you really just have a love for music, you're going to try to go beyond your genre. You're going to try to just make music because you love music, regardless of how the fans feel about it. And so I know later on this year, yeah, I'm going to start. Well, dang, we're this late into the year. Dang, I didn't realize how late we are into the year. But I think later on this year, I'm going to start working on a pop album and then probably release it next year. But as for the whole little fake your death thing, now, I did leave clues behind that it was fake, and I was wondering if anyone was able to tell what those clues are. Nobody has been able to tell what those clues are yet. But the ones like you that were just curious and kind of knew that this might be fake, I'm telling you, it put a smile on my face because I'm just like, yes, someone knows what's going on here. And there's some people who realized it was fake from the get-go and just played into it. And that's what I liked about it, because the people that knew it was fake and just started playing into it, though, those are the people where I was like, yes, man, you're doing the Lord's work here. But anyways, I'll clarify a little bit more about me faking my death and why I did it, because I only gave the small details. So many times over the years, and you see this with a lot of small artists, you see this with bands, but with most, more mainstream, most more big bands, they could just release their music project and tell their fans, hey, this is my new album, go check it out. And because they're already established, people are going to check it out, right? But you have a dilemma when you're a small artist, because I've been making music since 2018. And the most success I have seen so far has been this year. Like, I've seen more success this last year than the entire first 5 years of me making music. And the problem you run into as a small music artist is trying to evolve. And what I mean by that is you have a lot of small artists where, they're scared. It's like I said earlier about the artists that are scared to branch out of their genres. That's the thing with a lot of small artists. And a lot of small artists, they're also scared to take marketing risk or risk promoting their album, because I used to be big. What I used to do is, how you interview people, right? Like, you're currently interviewing me, which I'm appreciative of that. I used to do something similar back in 2022 where I used to do interviews with small hip hop artists and lo-fi hip hop artists, and I used to react to people's music, and so I was constantly talking to smaller artists. But I noticed the trend with a lot of small artists, it's always the same. Hey, this is our new album, go check it out, right? And they don't really do much behind the marketing. And what I've learned over the years, because I've listened to some very phenomenal artists and albums made by small artists, what I've noticed is it doesn't matter how good your album is as a small artist. If the marketing is not right, people are not going to listen. I mean, maybe, a small group of people listen, but you're missing your potential for a wider audience to listen. And there's been albums by small artists where, just listening to it, I thought, hey, it would blow the artist up, but it never did. And I've seen a lot of small talented artists where they just never became big, and they just stayed, with their small group of fans and never, rose up. And that boggled my mind. So over the last 6 years, I've kind of noticed the whole little thing of, hey, this is my new album, y'all, go check it out. It's not working anymore. It's not working anymore. Every artist does it. And I've started to look at more mainstream artists, even the ones that are dead. I've looked at Prince. I looked at Michael Jackson, Sabrina Carpenter. I like Sabrina Carpenter. I know controversial opinion. Kendrick Lamar, a lot of artists, a lot of more big name artists, when they released an album, there was controversy behind it. Prince, when he first released music and got big, there was controversy that he was too sexual as a guy, which, 40 years ago, I could see how that's a controversial thing. Michael Jackson, when he released the classic Thriller album, there was controversy behind that where news outlets were saying that he was becoming a lot more sexual, which just boggles my mind. It's Michael Jackson, right? Sabrina Carpenter, she revealed the latest art of her, I think it's her upcoming album, where, a lot of people are saying, this is sexist, you're setting us back, Sabrina Carpenter. Kendrick Lamar, when he released To Pimp a Butterfly, a lot of Republican and conservative news outlets, they criticized that album, saying it's too woke and stuff like that. But all of these artists have one thing in common. That controversy helped their album. It helped, gain more, helped them gain more listeners. And I knew this time around, if I was going to do anything, and everything just aligned perfectly, because at the same time, I was studying Prince. I have a Prince autobiography, and I was reading into some of the things he did to market his music. It was kind of just perfect timing, because I knew, I was like, okay, I really want to push this album. Spending money on ads, I've done that before, and it only does so much. So what do I need to do? Do I need to risk it for the biscuit? Is that what I'm going to do? Or am I just going to play it safe and just be hey, this is TenTillDeath's new album, everybody. And so I was willing to risk it for the biscuit. I knew the controversy it would generate. I knew, the repercussions of what I was doing. I knew I was going to lose some fans, and that was okay with me because for a long time, music wise, I've played it safe when it came to promoting my music. And that's the thing with a lot of small artists. A lot of small artists, they want to play it safe because they're scared of criticism, right? And that's understandable. Nobody likes to be criticized, whether it's their music, whether it's their, appearance, whether it's their sexuality. Nobody likes to be criticized. That's a basic common truth. And I was willing to say, okay, I'm going to put my own personal feelings behind me for this one. And we're just going to go all out and we're going to see if it works. And so far, it's been working. We've had a lot of people that have grown interest into the whole little TenTillDeath is missing thing. There's some people who are already aware. They're like, oh yeah, this is a stunt for his music, which they're right. They're right. They're right. There's no denying it. And just seeing the analytics and the growth I've had and the attention onto the TenTillDeath brand, it's proven my point to where I knew controversy, it would have helped me in this case. And I think it's also going to help the album versus if I just went the regular route of saying, yeah, this is my new album. Because I don't think too many people would have cared when I released my album if I didn't, try to go out on the marketing. So that was pretty much the whole idea behind the whole little I'm going to fake my death thing. But that's the only time I fake my death. When I actually die, I'm dead for real. So in the future, anyone that's watching this in the future, just know when I actually die, it's for real. It's not fake that time. So just gonna put that out there. Just gonna put that out there. But that's pretty much the whole premise behind that. Can't justify it. Morally unjustifiable. I'll say that. Morally unjustifiable.